Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. NFL Divisional Round props to bet. And last week, it was a dream scenario. I think we went 12-2 on the props. And I got to say, be careful with these. There's high variance in these. We've been hitting them all year. But like I said, be careful. Let's get to the divisional round props. We're going to go game by game. First game we're going to look at is Ravens at Bills. Man, I love this Lamar Jackson under 28.5 pass attempts. We're seeing the temperatures in Ralph Wilson Stadium. It's looking like it's going to be 7-8 degrees. And you worry about the wind coming from Lake Erie. I like the Lamar Jackson under 28.5 pass attempts. And this is also game plan dependent as well. Yes, we can see this game turning into a shootout. And we can see Josh Allen having to throw a lot and Lamar Jackson having to chase a Bills lead. But overall, I think this is a Derrick Henry game. This is a game where the Ravens try to win with their physicality. And I've been saying all year, the big weakness in this Bills defense, and their secondary hasn't been pretty, but the big weakness I think the Ravens will focus on is this front seven of the Bills. They're undersized. Ed Oliver hasn't played well this year. I think they get Derrick Henry going forward, and I think we see more of a Steelers game plan that the Ravens employ here. Control the clock. I'm going under 28.5 pass attempts for Lamar Jackson. Zay Flowers injured also puts another piece of information to support this. Next prop, we got Khalil Shakir over 51.5 receiving yards. This one has been on this list quite a lot, and I get it. The matchup for Shakir isn't great. He operates in the slot. Ravens will probably put Marlon Humphreys in there, and that's a damn good nickelback. We know that. But overall, man, I just think Shakir is the best receiver on the Bills and the best playmaker they have outside of Josh Allen. Now, James Cook could put up an argument. But overall, even if Humphreys is on his A game, I think Shakir gets space because Josh Allen is going to scramble. He's going to get 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds in the pocket when he's rolling right. And Shakir has great instincts. I still feel like 51.5 is way too low for him. And I know there's some other options. Like, I'm not going to bet this, but maybe Keon Coleman over 24.5. I like that more than the Cooper and Matt Collins plays. But overall, let's keep basic. Let's go with what's worked this whole year. Khalil Shakir over 51.5 receiving yards. Next prop, and this one rolls into what I'm saying. Josh Allen over 238.5 pass yards. Josh Allen has been absolutely phenomenal this year, and I don't like getting into the MVP discussions because it's like complaining. It's like people saying, "Oh, Lamar over Josh Allen over Lamar." Like, it's like saying, "Would I rather eat lobster or steak?" It comes down to the day, and can't we just give both of these guys credit? And Josh Allen is going to get his credit this game because I don't think James Cook is going to run the ball. I don't think it's going to be like them pounding Denver and a repeat of that. I know you guys want to do what we did last week. Go over with the Josh Allen attempts rushing. Go over with his rushing yards. I don't know, man. I'm a little bit skittish. The books have caught up. That's why I'm going to attack his over pass yards. I could see him having a big day, and I think he will be forced to throw in this game, and that's where I'm at with that. I'm going with Josh Allen. I'm going with the best player, and we know he runs well, but he throws certainly better. He's going to buy time. There's no dominant receiver, but he needs to step up. And also, another thing about this Ravens defense, I do think they've been a lot better since they moved Kyle Hamilton to that deep safety role. But come on, man, this is still a vulnerable secondary. You can still pick on these corners outside of Humphreys. Give me Josh Allen over 238 passing yards. I don't think the wind's going to affect that ball, that flamethrower he slings out. Last prop in this game, I'm going James Cook, under 55.5 rush yards. I think the Ravens are a top 5 run defense in the league. I think the Bills are going to attack aerially. Like, I know there's some injuries with the Bills' backup running backs, but overall, man, I think James Cook is going to have a silent day running the ball. I see between 35 and 50 yards from him. That's why I'm going under the 55.5 rush yards. Like I said, if you think this game turns into a shootout, then you definitely go the under here. I do think it will be a close game. I do think it will be gritty, but I still love the under 55.5 rush yards. Next game, we're going Los Angeles Rams at the Philadelphia Eagles. I love this one. Nakua under 91.5 receiving yards. This is what we did last week with A.J. Brown. We went under and we won the bet by like 81 fucking yards. And I get it, Nakua is the man on the Rams. He's a very good receiver, but he's facing a very good secondary here, and I'm worried about Matt Stafford's arm. I'm worried about his ability to push the ball down the field. And if you're the Eagles, you're looking at Cooper Kupp struggling. You're looking at Higbee probably missing this game. And outside of that, you do have to worry about Robinson. But, man, I'm going to try to take away Nakua, and I'm not sure the Rams are going to be able to run it. I'm going under the 91.5. Stafford is going to have to matriculate this ball to other options if they're going to have success. Next prop, we got Matt Stafford under 34.5 for his longest completion. I love this one. And we saw him get the ball down the field against the Vikings, especially those first 2 drives. But I think that's limited. I'm worried about Matt Stafford this year. I'm worried about when he's throwing under pressure. And I do worry about these Rams wide receivers. Like, I know Nakua is a great story. I know Cooper Kupp has made some gigantic explosive plays in the past, but none of these guys are explosive. And I don't think the Eagles are going to come up and have to play single high man where there's stuff available down the field. I'm going under 34.5 for the longest completion for Matt Stafford. Next prop, we're going Jalen Hurts under 204.5 passing yards. Listen, man, I don't think Hurts is healthy. And this past game for the Eagles has lacked rhythm at times the whole year, but it especially lacked rhythm against the Packers secondary, which should be concerning. I'm just not sure Hurts is healthy. Now, sometimes concussions can be more complicated and tricky than we think. Sometimes it's a quick turnaround, but I'm seeing Hurts like get up wobbly after plays. We're seeing him slide when he never slid before. I just don't think Hurts is right now, and I think this is a Saquon Barkley game. The Saquon prop is what it is for a damn good reason. I'm going under the 204.5 passing yards for Jalen Hurts. Next prop, I'm working it again. I'm going A.J. Brown under 69.5 receiving yards. This one's a little bit more dangerous because he's got some great matchups against the Rams secondary. I guess this is more of a borderline one. I'm not in love with it, but I feel like I got to test my luck again because I'm not sure about Hurts' ability to get the ball down the field. And we're not seeing Hurts even throw deep. Like, we're seeing a lot of stuff in that intermediate to short area. We're talking like 3 to 15 yards. We're not seeing the Eagles push the ball down the field like they did before. I'm going under the 69.5 receiving yards for A.J. Brown. 2 honorable mentions. I like Demarcus Robinson over 19.5 receiving yards and Goddard over 35.5 receiving yards. I mentioned Goddard. I gave him a shout out on the last video, although it wasn't official. These are just 2 to look into. I'm not making them official. Next game, we got the Washington No-Names at the Detroit Lions. Man, first one, I love this one. Money, 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 money. Jameson Williams, over 55.5 receiving yards. We know when to get him. We know when to lay off. This is a game. I think the Commanders have to put that 8-man in the box. I think they're going to have to go man-to-man. and Lattimore's not the same guy. I do like some of these young pieces in the Commanders, but still, this secondary is extremely vulnerable, and I think a lot of attention will be put forth on this Lions run game because the Commanders struggle with that, but also a lot of the attention should be on Amon-Ra St. Brown, and that's where Jameson Williams takes over. He's the type of guy, he can get this on one catch, but I think he's going to get volume this game, and I like this up to 72.5 for the guys who like the alts. Give me Jameson Williams over 55.5 receiving yards. Next one, this is an honorable mention. This is if you need something for your same game parlay. I like Khalif Raymond in this game over 5.5 receiving yards. I think it's a good matchup, and I listen, I like him more than Tim Patrick. I think Tim Patrick's at like 14.5. I think Khalif Raymond's going to be a scary, silent X factor in this game. I don't want to commit to it, but Khalif Raymond over 5.5 receiving yards could be interesting. Next prop, we got De'Ami Brown over 30.5 receiving yards. Outside of McLaurin, and I know you guys love Ertz, but outside of McLaurin, De'Ami Brown's the only guy I trust. I'm going over the 30.5 receiving yards for him. I think he's going to get 2 or 3 quick screens. He has ability to get yak, which is something Zacchaeus, McCaffrey, and all these other guys like Ertz, they don't possess. Even Terry McLaurin in his old age, he's not great at getting yak. De'Ami Brown's really the only guy you can get that. That's why he gets the quick screens. I feel like I think he's one of the few wide receivers for the Commanders that's trending in the right direction. Give me De'Ami Brown over 30.5 receiving yards. Next prop, we got Jaden Daniels over 54.5 rushing yards. Out of like the 12-2 or 13-2, whatever it was last week, the Jaden Daniels rushing yards didn't hit. We're going back to it. Like he had a lot of opportunities. He had a lot of touches running the ball against the Bucs. Come on, man. I think he could break a big scramble here. I think the Lions are going to try to bring pressure, and obviously that's not going to be great for Jaden Daniels, but I do think he breaks one. I just don't think the Lions are going to just completely stifle his runs like the Bucs did. We got to give credit to the Bucs for that. Give me Daniels over 54.5 rushing yards. I mean, this is one we pretty much have put on every single week. It's not going to hit every single week, but it hits the majority of the time. Next prop, next game, by the way, Texans at Chiefs. Hollywood Brown over 40.5 receiving yards. I think he's better than D-Hop. I trust him more than D-Hop. I think this is a great option for Pat Mahomes now that Hollywood Brown is healthy. I don't think he's going to be matched up on Stingley. I think he's going to be utilized in the slot and outside, maybe on some gadget plays. I just think there's a big Hollywood Brown script in this Andy Reid game plan. I'm going over the 40.5 receiving yards. Next prop, we got Xavier Worthy under 50.5 receiving yards. He just isn't really good. I know he can maybe hit one deep ball and go like one catch for 52 yards, but we've been waiting for him to play well the whole year, and it just hasn't happened. And I think Hollywood Brown coming back kind of eliminates him from the game plan. At least it should. I know the Chiefs aren't all that deep at wide receiver, and I know D-Hop, I'm not sure if he turns it on, but I'm just not a big Xavier Worthy guy. I don't think he's fine-tuned enough and has enough ability in his craft. Like, if it was a fucking running contest, Xavier Worthy would be a great wide receiver. Unfortunately, it's not. I'm going under the 50.5 receiving yards for Worthy. Next prop, we got CJ Stroud over 14.5 rushing yards. I feel like this is low. I think he needs to run. Chiefs go a lot of man-to-man, and the best way to attack the man-to-man, if you can't get separation with your wide receivers, is for the quarterback to scramble. I think he'll have 2 or 3 opportunities at some big lanes, and you saw him take advantage of this against the Chargers. Give me Stroud over 14.5 rushing yards. A lot of these Texans ones are complicated. Like last week, we got Menchie really low at at 19.5. Now Menchie's 33.5. Like, Woods was like 9.5, 10.5 last week. Now Woods is, what is he, like fucking 20.5, 18.5. So I'm just not seeing the value with the Texans offensive player props. This is our best value. Nico Collins is all the way up at 85.5. I would not smug my nose if you hit that. I'm not doing it. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. The best gambling show on the internet.